What's up? I'm Scott. I'm a California attorney. We're going to talk about the new California exhaust law and that $1,000 fine.
Here's the citation. You also need to take to a state referee and have them verify all the components on this motor and this exhaust system, okay?
Okay.
There'll be some information on this citation. You'll also receive something in the mail.
Okay.
All right? It's no longer correctable in California.
Okay.
Any modification to exhaust, you shall go before a judge, and it's a $1,000 fine.
Okay, I wasn't aware of it.
That changed last month due to the takeovers and some of the street racing.
I get
so
it.
unfortunately, you're facing $1,000, buddy, and we'll see you in court. Everything we do here is video cameraed. All right, you guys be careful as you pull away. I recommend fixing it right away and not continuing to drive. We're on a federal grant right now. So there's about a dozen of us working this. We're going to be working this every weekend.
Okay.
And 2 or 3 times during the week sporadically. All because of the fatalities involving cars similar to this. Not saying it was you guys, but you're driving one with the stuff, get it fixed.
Okay.
Otherwise, $1,000 every time. All right, guys, be careful.
What's up, guys? It's Scott. We're going to be going over this new California law, AB1824, AB1824, what it covers, what it used to be, what the new changes are. But before we get started with all of that, I need to do a few disclaimers because this is a video produced sort of by an attorney. I'm an attorney, my producers are not. First and foremost, I am a California licensed attorney. I do practice in Los Angeles and all the surrounding counties. So that's LA, Ventura, San Bernardino, as far as Kern, Riverside, San Diego, Orange County. If you need help, do not hesitate to call. Free consultations. Second, though, because I'm talking to you through this video does not mean that we have a attorney-client privilege unless we are talking about representation. This is not legal advice. This is just information for you to use in your daily lives. Do not count on this to help you in any and all of your situations. Legal advice is very specific law to very specific set of facts. Each case is so different in and of itself. I can't say that enough, that this does not apply to every situation. If you do want to talk, I'm more than happy to. As you can see, I'm working off a script. I do want to cover almost everything. We got 8 pages of just pure code, and we're trying to make the most in-depth video about this exhaust system law that there is. Even then, this video cannot cover all the laws. Number 1, because all the laws suck. Number 2, because the laws conflict with each other, and we're just going over the ones that are sort of controlling at the moment. So let's start with a little bit of history. Are these exhaust laws new? No, they are absolutely not new. These laws came out in 1977. They've been revised a few times over the years. The most meaningful ones, 2003 and 2013. The biggest laws to take note of, it's law section 27150. We're gonna try and put that up on the screen so you don't just see me talk straight reading a script. So you could read along. Vehicle Code section 27150 states, every motor vehicle subject to registration shall at all times be equipped with an adequate muffler in constant operation and properly maintained to prevent any excessive or unusual noise. That's every motor vehicle subject to registration. And no muffler or exhaust system shall be equipped with a cutout, bypass, or similar device. So in that vehicle code, 27150, we already see a few things. They're saying no excessive or unusual noise. That needs further definition and clarification. But there are already 3 specific acts that you cannot do mentioned in this. No exhaust system shall be equipped with a cutout. I was thinking about doing that to my car when this law passed until I read this. Bypass or similar device. They're trying to cover everything through that. Let's continue on. 27150B. Except as provided in Division 16.5, commencing with Section 38000, with respect to off-highway motor vehicles subject to identification, every passenger vehicle operated off the highways shall at all times be equipped with an adequate muffler in constant operation and properly maintained so as to meet the requirements of Here it's bolded Article 2.5 commencing with Section 27200. And no muffler or exhaust system shall be equipped with, again, a cutout, bypass, or similar device. Subdivision C is actually sort of helpful to us. The guys who actually race their cars not on the road but on the track, the guys who take their motorcycles off of the canyons and take them to the track. Subdivision C states the provisions of Subdivision B shall not be applicable to passenger vehicles being operated off the highways in organized racing competitive events conducted subsequent or subject to the local laws. The next most important law is Vehicle Code Section 27151. And remember, these are the laws that were in place before. Vehicle Code 27151 also governs exhausts. Section A reads, no person shall modify the exhaust system of a motor vehicle in a manner which will amplify or increase the noise emitted by the motor of the vehicle so that the vehicle is not in compliance with the provisions of Section 27150 or exceeds the noise limits established for the type of vehicle in Article 2.5 commencing with Section 27200. No person shall operate a motor vehicle with an exhaust system so modified. Section B reads, for the purpose of the exhaust systems installed on motor vehicles with a manufacturer's gross vehicle weight rating of less than 6,000 pounds, other than motorcycles, a sound level of 95 decibels or less when tested in accordance with Society of Automotive Engineers Standard J1169, May 1998, complies with this section. Motor vehicle exhaust systems or parts thereof include, but are not limited to, non-original exhaust equipment. And then also, and we're still talking history here, 40610. The old 40610 states, except as provided in paragraph 2, if after an arrest, accident, investigation, or other law enforcement action, it appears that a violation has occurred involving a registration, license, all-terrain vehicle safety certificate, or mechanical requirement of this code, and none of the disqualifying conditions set forth in Subdivision B exist, that's the most important phrase, and the investigating officer decides to take enforcement action, the officer shall prepare in triplicate, and the violator shall sign a written notice containing the violator's promise to correct the alleged violation and to deliver proof of the correction of the violation to the issuing agency. If any person is arrested for a violation of Section 4454 and none of the disqualifying conditions set forth in Subdivision B exist, the arresting officer shall prepare in triplicate and the violator shall sign a written notice containing the violator's promise to correct the alleged violation and to deliver proof of the correction to the issuing agency. Subdivision B is what changed. Here's the old Subdivision B. Pursuant to Subdivision A, notice to correct violation shall be issued as provided in this section, or a notice to appear shall be issued as provided in Section 40522. Unless the officer finds any of the following. This is where violations are not correctable. These three categories. Number 1, evidence of fraud, so it's not your car, you kind of stole it. Of course, they're not going to give you a ticket. Or persistent neglect, your car's falling apart. They're not going to give you a fix-it ticket, they might just tow it. Number 2, the violation presents an immediate safety hazard. Who defines that? That's sort of on you, sort of on the officer. And then number 3, the violator does not agree to or cannot promptly correct the violation. So if you don't agree to correct the violation, the officer has the option not to give you a fix-it ticket and to just give you a plain old ticket, which results in a fine, which everyone is scared of. If any of the conditions set forth in Subdivision B exist, the procedures specified in this section, which is the fix-it ticket section, or Section 40522 are inapplicable, and the officer may take other appropriate enforcement actions. We're talking about taking your car, making it unregisterable, sending you to the referee. You do not want to go down that path. But what happened? So that was in the book since 1970, 2003, 2013, 6 years ago now. What changed? In 2018, June or July of 2018, AB1824 passed. AB1824 is a California state assembly bill. It's the way that laws are made in California. It has a lot of parts to this bill that don't even have to do with exhausts, but the last section does. Here's the text, jumping down to paragraph 4, because 1 through 3 deal with other stuff passed at the same time. Existing law provides that whenever any person is arrested for certain offenses, including among other things an infraction involving vehicle equipment, the arresting officer is required to permit the arrested person to execute a notice prepared by the officer in triplicate containing a promise to correct the violation and blah blah blah, unless disqualifying conditions exist. Of course, they go on to mention that existing law requires every motor vehicle subject to registration to be equipped with an adequate muffler in constant operation. Jump down to the bottom. This is the real text. This bill would include, among those conditions that are disqualifying, a violation of the above described requirements related to mufflers and exhaust systems. The big change was in Vehicle Code 40610. You could call it the Fix-It Ticket Code, because this is what allowed you to take a violation and fix it and come back and pay $25 once you showed the correction. 40610 now includes in its disqualifying conditions in subdivision B, pursuant to subdivision A, a notice to correct violation shall be issued as provided in the section, or a notice to appear shall be issued as provided in section 40522, unless the officer finds any of the following. Number 1, we saw evidence of fraud or persistent neglect. Number 2, the violation presents an immediate safety hazard. Number 3, the violator does not agree to the correction. And then here we go, number 4. The violation cited is of subdivision A of section 27150 or of subdivision A of 27151. So what exactly is 27150 and 27151? Those are the codes that we talked about earlier that say there are specific requirements for your exhaust. So the real change was to 40610, which states those cannot be disqualifying conditions any longer. We'll go and remind you what 27150 states. In effect, an adequate muffler in constant operation and properly maintained to prevent any excessive or unusual noise, and no muffler or exhaust system shall be equipped with a cutout bypass or similar device. And then remember, Vehicle Code 27151 reads, no person shall modify the exhaust system of a motor vehicle in a manner which will amplify or increase the noise emitted by the motor of the vehicle so that the vehicle is not in compliance with section 27150 or exceeds the noise limits established for the type of vehicle in Article 2.5 starting with 27200. Let's jump down to 27200 because that's where we find those limits. That's what everyone's being confused about. Can I do this? Can I do that? Well, you can do anything you want just as long as it does not violate 27200. That text reads, the Department of Motor Vehicles shall not register, blah, 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 which produces a maximum noise exceeding the applicable noise limit at a distance of 50 feet from the center line of travel under test procedures established by the Department of California Highway Patrol. That's conflict number 1 because you'll see there's a different test that needs to be used later. For new cars, for people that are worried about cars that have loud exhausts from the factory, here's your escape. The Department of Motor Vehicles may accept a dealer certificate as proof of compliance with this article. You can bet your bottom dollar that Chevy with their Corvette, or Dodge with their Hellcat, or Ford with a Focus, who knows, they're going to be giving that certificate to any one of their vehicles to ensure that it is compliant with 27200. Subdivision C of Vehicle Code 27200 states, test procedures for compliance with this article shall be established by the Department of California Highway Patrol, taking into consideration the test procedures of the Society of Automotive Engineers. Okay, so Vehicle Code 27151 establishes the maximum decibel limit for a passenger vehicle that weighs less than 6,000 pounds. That's probably 98% of cars out there right now. Unless you're driving a Mercedes 6x6 or a semi-truck, this law probably applies to you. 95 decibels or less under the testing conditions, which are super important to understanding this because the testing conditions can determine anything. My car could be 1,000 decibels, but if you measure it from 1,000 miles away, you're not gonna hear it. Versus a car that's very quiet, if you hold the microphone right up to the exhaust, it's gonna sound loud. We'll get to those specific conditions for testing in a moment, but let's go over the requirements for other types of vehicles, because not everything is a vehicle that weighs less than 6,000 pounds. Vehicle code 27201 states, for purposes of section 27200, the noise limit of 92 decibels is in place for motorcycles manufactured before 1970. The next vehicle code, 27202, states, for the purposes of section 2700, which is the limits, the following noise limits shall apply to any motorcycle other than a motor-driven cycle. I don't know what that is. After 69, but before 73, you get up to 88 decibels. After 1972, but before 1975, you get down to 86 decibels. After 1974, but before 1986, you only have up to 83 decibels, and then pretty much all the motorcycles on the road now, any motorcycle manufactured after 1985 only gets up to 80 decibels. So here's the big question. What does this mean? Does this mean that you can't modify your exhaust? No, you can modify your exhaust just as long as it does not violate the 95 decibels for cars, which is under 27150 and 27151, and 80 decibels, or a little give or take if your motorcycle is very old at this point, for motorcycles manufactured after 1985. So you can modify your exhaust. You can modify your exhaust. You're not gonna get hit with a $1,000 fine. You're going to have your due process, as guaranteed in the Constitution, to take care of it, to measure yourself against the laws that are in place. And now you know. It's not a blanket prohibition on all exhausts. The next question is, do I have to put my stock pipe back on? Do you have to put your stock pipe back on? The answer is maybe. If your modified pipe is fine, then you're good. If your modified pipe exceeds the applicable decibel rating, you need to go back to something that's a little quieter. Are you gonna get a brand new exhaust that does fit? I don't think so. I would rather go back to my stock exhaust than get another new aftermarket exhaust that is usually typically more expensive just to get under that 95 decibels. Keep your stock exhaust if you can. So what's the fine? What is this $1,000 that everyone is talking about? Everyone has seen that video of that cop just going pretty ham on this little girl with this $1,000 ticket and explaining that they're gonna be enforcing it all the time, on the weekends, during the week. They have a federal grant, this and that. The fine, let me tell you, is not a base fine of $1,000. If you get cited for other violations, if you're committing other crimes, your violation fine could get up to and probably go over $1,000. But the base fine under the Uniform Bail and Penalty Schedules, Section 5, bail categories, here's where it is. The following offenses that are an infraction with a fine of up to $250 includes Vehicle Code Sections 27150. If one of these offenses is charged as an infraction, the appropriate penalty is listed below in the table. So here's the table. 27150, a violation of adequate muffler required to be properly installed, is $197. It's not $1,000. A violation of 27151, the modification of exhaust system prohibited, is $193. If you do want to go crazy and jump into a violation that's going to cost you $1,000, this is just a side note and FYI. If you put a whistle tip exhaust on, which there's really no reason for that, anywhere ever, maybe unless you're like in Alaska and trying to warn deer that you're coming. If you put a whistle tip exhaust on, you're gonna get fined $1,105. And then the craziest thing to me in the vehicle code, the highest fine, the legislature really just hates whistles. If you're engaged in the business of installing whistle tips on car exhausts, you're gonna get fined $4,000. So don't do that. So let's jump into how decibels are tested. So if you're going into your garage or if you're out on the street and you want to see if your car can meet this, this is how you're testing it. CCR section 1036. This is the CHP code, California Code of Regulations, Title 13, Division 2, Chapter 4, Article 9, Exhaust System Noise Measurement. Exhaust systems for motor vehicles other than motorcycles with a manufacturer's gross weight of less than 6,000 pounds shall comply with the specified noise limits when tested in accordance with the following specifications. Section A is where you do the measuring. The vehicle the vehicle under the test shall be positioned either on outdoor pavement or on a shop floor, but not over a hoist or a pit, in a location where the exhaust outlets are near an open shop door. They can't put you in an echo chamber to test your decibels. No sound reflecting surface other than the pavement and the vehicle being measured shall be within 10 feet of any part of the vehicle. So they can't park your car next to a whole bunch of cars because that'll cause reverberation and a higher decibel rating. Now, where do you put the microphone? Section B states, the microphone for the sound level meter shall be at the same height as the center of the exhaust outlet. The microphone shall be no closer to the pavement. It can't be closer to the ground than 8 inches. Otherwise, it's picking up reverberation and increasing the decibels. It's also 203 millimeters. When the exhaust outlet is lower than this height, the microphone shall be positioned at 8 inches minimum no matter what. The microphone shall be positioned with its longitudinal axis parallel to the ground 20 inches plus or minus 1 inch from the nearest edge of the exhaust. So your microphone will be 20 inches from the exhaust. And at a 45-degree angle from the way that the exhaust is facing, plus or minus 10 degrees. For exhaust outlets located under the vehicle body, the microphone shall be located at the specific angle and at least 8 inches from the nearest part of the vehicle. For exhaust outlets that make an angle of 45 degrees or less with the longitudinal axis of the vehicle, the microphone shall be outboard of the exhaust axis. Okay, so now that we've gone over the limits, let's say you get caught. You get cited by a cop. Best case scenario, they do not refer you to a referee. They just put you down as an infraction. You get to go contest it in court. Hopefully with my help, we'll take care of it. Let's say you do get sent to a referee. What vehicle code is that covered under? That is under Vehicle Code Section 27150.2. You can read that for yourself, but basically there are charges, there is specific testing standards like we mentioned before. That's a place that you don't want to go. Section E states vehicular exhaust systems are exempt from the requirement of 27150 and 27151 if compliance with those sections or the regulations adopted pursuant thereto would cause an unreasonable hardship without resulting in a sufficient corresponding benefit with respect to the noise level control. This is a weird one. This balances your hardship in trying to change it back. So let's say you have a car manufactured in 1980 and you were a poor widow, which I bet none of my viewers are poor widows driving around 1980 cars that are higher than 95 decibels. Let's say you're one of those people. This is an argument that the law gives you an ability to make. This is where the law is actually sort of on your side. If it's an undue hardship, let's say you're making 96 decibels instead of 95, this is a section of the law where you can argue, I should not have to make this change. The referee program, we'll put a link in the description below, but it's a 3-step process. And we called earlier today and it's on their website. Step 1 is if you feel your vehicle's exhaust system has been modified or has deteriorated so that the noise level exceeds current standards, you should have the exhaust system repaired before proceeding to step 2. Step 2 is having your vehicle tested at a state referee center. To make an appointment, you could call the referee center, which is 800-622-7733. And then step 3, this is the testing. This is the testing right here. The referee will continue to conduct an exhaust noise level test in accordance with the Society of Automotive Engineers, SAE Standard J1169, established in May 1998 to determine if your vehicle exhaust noise level exceeds the noise standard, 95 decibels. That's from the referee itself. So let's talk about how can you get this dismissed? That's the real question everyone should be asking. How can I cope with this if you get caught? Number 1, try not to get caught. Number 2, if you do get caught, be nice. Look, practical advice here. The nicer you are to a cop, the less he's going to care about you. He's going to write your citation and move along. If you give a lot of lip service, and look, some of the cops want to be out there doing this, screw them. Most cops, though, don't really care about your exhaust. They're not the politicians in Sacramento making these dumb laws, but they have to enforce them, okay? So don't get crazy on the cops. But getting crazy on a cop will make him want to document your case further. He'll pull out that meter reader. He'll gather the evidence that could crush you in court. Fly under the radar. Be nice. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Goodbye, sir. Yeah, thanks for my ticket. I'm going to go call Scott. We're going to fight this. But here's how to get it dismissed. Vehicle code 27150.7. A court may dismiss any action in which a person is prosecuted for operating a vehicle in violation of section 27150 or 27151 if a certificate of compliance has been issued by a station pursuant to 27150.2, or if the defendant had reasonable grounds to believe that the exhaust system was in good working order and had reasonable grounds to believe that the vehicle was not operated in violation of the decibel vehicle code sections. Another vehicle code that can help you fight this is section 40901. Generally, how to fight a ticket. A court pursuant to this section may, by rule, provide for the trial of any alleged infraction involving a violation of this code or any local ordinance adopted pursuant to this code. So you have a right to trial. You have a right to see whether the officer has gathered enough evidence to prove that your exhaust was in violation of this code. That's the bottom line. Will a court take your word? Maybe. Good luck to my friends trying to do it on their own. Will a court take my word? Typically, I submit a brief before the court date, and we take care of it. So the questions are questions of proof. Were the decibels measured? Is there a record of that measurement? And if there is a record of that measurement, is it out of the confines of the sections in 27-200 and on? Okay. So that's how to get rid of this ticket. It's not a $1,000 ticket. It's not a $1,000 ticket, and there are ways to get out of it. It's not an all-out ban on exhausts. Here's some side notes, though. Because the law is more than the letter of the law, it's more than the spirit of the law, it's the practical mind of the CHP officer that's pulling you. That's the practical side to the law, is what is actually happening. I called a CHP officer today. I called the CHP hotline for the General California Highway Patrol of California in Sacramento. They referred me to the local office. I called the local office, and the guy had no clue. He just said, if I can feel that it is excessive or unusual, we're going to write you a ticket. That's what you're dealing with out there. Let them write that ticket, though, and then fight it with the specific facts and with the specific law. So that's pretty much all the law. Let me give you my thoughts, though. These laws are old. It's nothing new to be worried about. We should have been worried about these in 1970. Our parents and our grandparents, who were car people just like us, had to put up with these laws. We're having to put up with them now because people are going out and showing off how dumb they are with these types of modifications. Doing the street takeovers, doing the car whips, parking lot, you know, go ahead, get your Taco Tuesday on, park and chill with your friends. But these people that are shutting down freeways, shutting down intersections, getting into crashes, running over pedestrians, they kind of killed it for us. But that doesn't make these laws okay to harm and take out the rest of us. In some cases, though, laws are pretty obnoxious. But in other cases, exhausts are pretty obnoxious, right? 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, you're waking up not only in your neighborhood, but surrounding neighborhoods. You know, tone it down a little bit, right? We're trying to be reasonable. I do believe, however, that the phrase loud pipes save lives is very true with motorcyclists. I do personal injury for motorcycle cases, and time after time I see drivers just not hearing or not seeing motorcycles and merging across lanes, making turns. Whereas if the driver heard a motorcycle, maybe they would have checked twice. Maybe they could have saved a life. Do I have a problem with these laws? Yeah. You know, like not a super big problem, right? My car goes plenty fast. It sounds good enough to me. Would I like a better exhaust? A little louder? 100%. The problem that I have, though, is with the directives giving police departments more money just to tackle these issues. That's money out of our children's schools. I visited a school the other day. It was poor. The school was falling apart. Versus if you go and visit these cops on the street, they're driving these nice new cruisers to catch us with our loud pipes. That seems a little backwards to me. But that's not a hate on the cops. That's a hate on the politicians passing these laws, giving these police departments money to go after this specifically, when police departments can better focus their attention on drivers that are actually causing crashes. DUIs, running red lights, cell phone, texting while driving. It's all bad. As bad as pipes? No, but that's where the focus is. And that's why these politicians in Sacramento are really getting it wrong. If you have a question specifically about anything that we talked about in the video, or if you want to know more specifically about your situation, I encourage you to put that down in the comments section below. I 100% guarantee you, if you're thinking about a question, probably 10 other people are thinking about that question too. So if you ask it, I promise we'll get to it. We're probably going to put out a few more videos because this is a huge subject and we've barely scratched the surface. But I really appreciate you taking time to watch this, and I hope that you keep a lookout for some more of the videos that we put out in the future. We're really trying to help you guys out. If you can, and I know you can, like, subscribe, smash that subscribe button, smash that like button. For real, we're trying to do this as much as we can. We'll see how much we can help the car and bike scene. Thanks.
Bye.